Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today. My name is Mindy Lee. I am the State Marketing Manager for the Kansas Small Business Development Center. And today we're going to be going over some online marketing strategies for your small business. All of you at the bottom of your screen should have a Q&A section and a chat box. So throughout the presentation, I believe Anna and Norma Jean, will you guys be kind of keeping an eye on the Q&A for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, throughout this presentation, please, if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A or the chat, and we will absolutely get to those. Again, also, here's my contact information at the bottom, and you will also be receiving a copy of this presentation from my personal email as well. So if you have any questions after today, you are more than welcome to email me. I'd be more than happy to chat with you. So to go ahead and get started, we will kind of go over a brief roadmap of what we'll be talking about today. First, we're going to discuss a little bit about the Kansas Small Business Development Center for those of you who are unfamiliar. Then we'll go over social media, the basics of search engine optimization, the importance of a website, your Google business listing, some additional online marketing strategies, and then we'll get to the Q&A. So the Kansas Small Business Development Center, we are the state advising resource for the small business owner. Our mission is to increase the economic prosperity in Kansas by helping entrepreneurs and small business owners start and grow their business. And a majority of our services come at no cost as a result of support from the U.S. Small Business Administration, the state of Kansas, higher education institutions, and other local and regional partners. So something that we tend to get a lot, people asking if we just help startup businesses, and that is not true. We do help startup businesses, but we also help people who've been in business for, 5, 10, 15, 25, 50 years. We also, if you don't have a business yet, maybe you just have some ideas for a business, but you're not really sure how to develop those ideas, you're more than welcome to, reach out to your local center, and we are here to sit down with you and kind of talk through that, that business idea, that strategy, how you can approach it. So we don't just work with startups. We work with you through all phases of your business. So we're going to first start off with social media for business. So nearly 3/4 of American adults actually use social media, so it makes it a really critical part of any business strategy. So if you don't have a social media presence for your business, it is very important that you do get one. Some essential tips for using social media. You definitely want to start with a plan. Set goals. So what are you wanting to achieve with your social media? But something important to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that your goals are attainable and they can provide real impact on your business. So a lot of people tend to focus on how many likes you get, how many shares you get, how many followers you get. But that is not a real impact on your business. You really want to think about how you can achieve goals like acquiring customers, generating leads, raising conversion rates from your social media platform to your website. Those things are much more important than simply racking up likes and followers. You also want to research your competition. So think about how your competitors are using social media. You don't want to outright steal the strategy of your competitors, but it's totally okay to find competitors within your industry who are doing similar things that you're doing and see how they're using their social media. How are they engaging with their customers? What kind of content are they posting? How often are they posting? These types of things can really give you an idea of how you might want to adopt your strategy, your approach to social media. And it can be very helpful if you are on a platform that maybe you have a bit of a learning curve, you're not too familiar with it. Seeing how your competitors are utilizing it can really help you with that learning curve and help you kind of figure out what your strategy can be. You also might want to think about creating a social media calendar. So it sounds more intimidating than it is, but essentially what a calendar can do, it helps you post the right content to the right social channels at the right time. There are programs like Hootsuite and Buffer that can, cross promote posts through several different platforms. Some of those do cost money to use. Typically, if you're just using one platform or even just two platforms, if you're using, let's say, Instagram and Facebook, You know, you might not need one of those expensive social media post planners, but if you are just using Facebook, for example, they have a scheduler built into the platform. So that's a free option that you can use to plan out and schedule your posts. But it is important to kind of have an idea of how often you want to post, what types of content you want to post, and plan those out. And the really nice thing about doing that is that it can save you time in the long run. So even if you just do it by, you know, once a week or twice a week, or, you know, maybe twice a month, you sit down and you spend a couple hours planning out and scheduling your posts on, let's say, your Facebook page for the next week or two, then those things will automatically post on the days and times that you set them for. And you can go back to focusing on, you know, other aspects of your business that take up a lot of your time. And you don't have to worry so much about coming up with a new post for your social media every single day, because that can be pretty daunting. And, you know, to be honest, a lot of us aren't feeling super creative every single day. So it can be really hard to come up with something on the spot. If you are going to be doing consistent posting on social media, it's important to remember something that's called the 80-20 rule. Now, it doesn't have to be specifically 80% and 20%, but it's a rule that is good to keep in mind. Basically, it states that 80% of the content that you post on social media should be informative, motivating, helpful, informative, in an educational way. You want to be giving your audience something instead of asking them for something. The 20%, that's when you're actually asking for your customers to do something. That's when you ask for something from them. So 80% of the time you might be posting, you know, articles that can help improve your customers' lives, or can give them tips on things that can make their day-to-day easier, you know, all within the bounds of being within your business industry. And the other 20% of the time, that's when you can say, hey, come check out our website, follow us on social media, you know, come check out our store. That's when you're asking them for something. Another really simple way to look at it is the rule of 3 gives and an ask. So you do 3 posts in a row that are giving content away freely. You're, you know, giving educational, motivational, or inspirational posts to your audience. And then that 4th post is when you're asking for something. You know, hey, come follow us on Facebook or check out our website. And then you can usually rotate that pretty well, but that's kind of the idea of the 80-20 rule. If you're hard selling all the time, people will have no motivation for following you, because it's always going to feel like to them all you're after is their money, and you're not providing them any real value. You want to know your audience. So one of the benefits of social media business pages is that it can allow you to see who is engaging with your content, so that you can more effectively micro-target your customer base. So Facebook Insights, for example, Facebook has one of the most broad, in-depth, you know, demographics of any social media platform out there when it comes to your followers and your customers and who's engaging with your posts. So you can get pretty detailed information on the audience that is engaging with your content and following your Facebook page. And Instagram's the same way. You can get a pretty good idea of who's engaging with your content on there. And, you know, Twitter, Pinterest, all these platforms have analytical sides to them that you can use that information to kind of figure out who your target audience is on those platforms. So you might think that, you know, as an example, that your target audience are, you know, women and men between the ages of 40 and 65. But then you have, you know, you implement a social media strategy, you check out your analytics, and you actually find out that on social media, you're getting a lot of engagement, mostly from women between the ages of 25 and 35. So it really can give you a good idea of who's engaging with you online and how you can adopt your marketing to target that customer base. It also allows you to build relationships, and that's something that you definitely want to do on social media. Engage with your audience directly, build trust, and this can create a very loyal following. Marketing and advertising used to be very one way, one direction. You know, newspaper ads, television commercials, billboards, it was always business to consumer marketing. But with social media, it gives your customers the chance to engage with you, to ask questions, to comment on things. So this gives you an opportunity to build a relationship with your followers and with your customers online by engaging in a conversation and building those relationships, which can not only build a more loyal following, but it gives people a better idea of who you are as a business. And it makes them go from, maybe they just find you online, to following your page, to becoming, warm leads. The more you engage with them, the more they warm up to your business. And the next thing you know, they could be purchasing something from you. So that's really the advantage to building that relationship with your customers on social media. You also want to decide which platforms are right for you. Something that's really important to keep in mind is that when it comes to social media platforms, and I go into this a little bit more later on, but it's really based on quality over quantity. There are so many different social media platforms out there for businesses to choose from. Don't feel like you have to be on everything. So think about your customer base, think about your geographic region, think about who you're targeting online and what social media platform would be best for that. Small businesses do not have these large 15-person marketing teams like Nike or Adidas or sports teams have. So it's really difficult for a small business to be on, 3, 4, 5 different social media platforms at the same time. It's just not feasible. So you really want to narrow it down to at least one, if not maybe 2 platforms that work really well for your business. And I'm just going to be straightforward with all of you. We're in rural Kansas, so the number 1 platform is going to be Facebook. So at the very least, in rural Kansas, you want to have a Facebook page. And if you want to expand beyond that, if you want to get, a Twitter or a LinkedIn or an Instagram account just to kind of test it out, you're more than welcome to do that. There's nothing wrong with experimenting. But the fact is that in rural Kansas, it's pretty consistently Facebook is the most popular platform that people use. But also you want to think about the age of your audience. Now, the younger generation, I believe it's Generation Z, and those are the people that are like, I think 20 years and younger. They're going to be on much different platforms than Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Not saying they're not on those platforms, but they're using a lot of other ones that are not being used by millennials, Generation X, boomers. So it kind of depends on who your target audience is, but it's pretty safe to assume that in small town Kansas, you're going to be fine with a Facebook page. So share compelling and engaging visuals. Photos and videos are absolutely crucial to online marketing, especially social media. We kind of get into a little bit more later on with the types of images that you can use, but when it comes to online marketing across the board, you want to make sure that you have some sort of visual component to your online content. So we as humans, we retain information 6 times more if we see a relevant image paired with text or with content. So it's always important to have some sort of visual element to your, social media posts. And this second point, it really just kind of reiterates what I was talking about, focusing on quality over quantity. You don't need to do everything. Above all else, though, you want to make sure that your posts offer value. Again, if all you're trying to do is hard sell your products and services all the time, there's very little motivation for people to follow you. So kind of going back to the 80-20 rule, you want to spend most of your time freely giving information away to your customers. And then that other 20% of the time, that's when you ask for something back. That strategy will build a better relationship and you're more likely to get a response than if you're constantly hard selling all the time, because all your customer is going to see when you do that is give me your money, buy my stuff. And people do not respond well to that. So just a couple things to keep in mind with social media. Social media marketing, like all marketing, requires time. So you want to be realistic, take it one step at a time, and most of all, be patient. Putting out a Facebook ad on a Monday doesn't mean that Tuesday you're going to have 50 people walk in your door. That's just not how marketing works. It's not how social media marketing works. marketing is a long game. So you are constantly in a state of marketing your business. It's just kind of finding out what those strategies are that work best for your business and how to properly optimize those. Make sure that you have your social media images done in the right dimensions. So a Facebook cover photo is going to look and feel very different on a Twitter page. So if you have an image on your Facebook cover photo that looks really clear and crisp and looks nice, if you try to use that same image on, let's say, Twitter or Instagram, it might not come through as clear. It might not have the proper dimensions. You know, parts of your picture might get cut off because it's not the right size. So this website, canva.com, is an amazing free resource that I highly encourage all of my clients to use. You can go in there, and if you want to create a Facebook cover photo, you can just go to the search bar and type Facebook cover photo, and it will automatically generate a template for you in the proper dimensions for Facebook cover photos. And then you can design that however you want it to look. It's free to sign up. And you can get a pro plan, which costs, I think, it's between $120 and $240 a year. It just kind of depends on what elements you want with it. But honestly, the free plan has so much available that you don't really need, it's not really necessary for a small business to get that pro plan if you don't need it, because there's just so many options with the free plan. But you can design more than just social media images. You can also design newsletters, brochures, pamphlets, flyers, note cards, business cards. Anything that you need done in those dimensions automatically get generated in the template, and then you just go in and design them so that when you when you send them in to be printed or put online, they're in those proper dimensions and they look nice. Social media is a source of buyer validation. So in a nutshell, what this means is that subconsciously we seek out what is popular. So if somebody's first interaction with your business is, let's say, on your Twitter page or your Facebook page, and you're only posting once every 3 weeks, maybe once every month or so, and you get very little engagement when you do post, to that person, subconsciously, they're seeing your business is struggling. It's not doing very well. It must not be a very popular business. And that might not reflect reality. Maybe in reality, you have, pretty frequent customers that come in. You're actually doing pretty okay. But people who have never engaged with your business before, if their first interaction with your business is likely going to be online. And if your online presence isn't optimized, if you're not posting frequently, if you're not posting engaging content, if you're not responding to comments and reviews, then it can create a negative feedback for people who are seeing your business for the first time on social media. So it's really important in a social media strategy, whether you are on one platform or 2 platforms, whatever it might be, that you are posting consistently, that you're posting engaging content. And anytime somebody leaves you a review or comments on something or shares your post, it's always good to go in and respond to those or thank the person for sharing the post. But you have to have some sort of engagement there. So it's just important to keep those kind of things in mind with your social media strategy. So before we go on to the basics of search engine optimization, do we have any questions so far on social media?
I don't see anything in the Q&A.
Okay, awesome. Again, if you guys don't think of any questions today, it's totally fine. You'll get my contact information at the end of this presentation as well. So you're more than welcome to just email me anytime. I still get people from workshops I did 6 months ago. I still get people emailing me with questions. So it's really no pressure. If you don't have anything today, totally fine. You can email me anytime you'd like. So now we're going into the basics of search engine optimization, otherwise known as SEO. Before I start in on this part, I just want to preface it by saying that this is a very basic, simplified overview of SEO. SEO itself could really have its own presentation that could be easily a couple hours long. It's pretty comprehensive. It's a very robust concept. There's a lot of information that comes with it. but today I just kind of want to do like a basic introduction to it, how to understand it, what it's used for. But again, if you want to have a conversation more in depth about it, maybe more particular to your business or your industry, please feel free to reach out and I'm happy to have that conversation. So what is SEO? It's the practice of increasing both the quality and the quantity of website traffic, also as well as exposure to your brand through non-paid organic search engine results. It's all about understanding what people are searching for online, the answers that they're seeking, the words that they're using, and the type of content they wish to consume. So why is it so important? SEO can help make your website easy for both users and for Google to understand. And Google is just one of several search engines, but Google has 97% of the market when it comes to search engines. So I'm just referring to search engines as Google from here on out, just to keep things easy. So in a nutshell, search engines and Google are answer machines. They give the user the most relevant results based on their question, and they rank those results based on the popularity of the website delivering that information. So while paid advertising, social media, and other online platforms can generate traffic to your website, the majority of online traffic actually comes from Google, and it comes from organic searches. They receive more clicks than paid advertisements do. So this image is kind of an example of, let's say I'm going into Google and I kind of want to know, like, what are the best headphones this year? What are the best headphones for 2020? So when you get your results, this top part here, these are always the advertisements. They'll always pop those at the top because people are paying for these spots. But something to keep in mind, what I just said a couple minutes ago, these don't receive as many clicks as this part down here does. People are more likely to click on these organic results than they are on the paid advertisements. You can do a paid advertisement because it can get your product or your website on the front page of Google easily, but people are less likely to click on it than if it shows up organically down here. Now this kind of cuts off because of my screenshot, but there are 10 results on the front page of Google. And so based on my inquiry, based on me asking, what are the best headphones in 2020, Google scours its database of billions of website pages, documents, articles, and they generate the results based on the popularity of the website, how relevant it is to the question that I'm asking, and then it kind of categorizes it in these top 10 lists. So based on my question up here, Google says, this is the top answer we could find in our database that would provide you with the answer that you're looking for. Here's the second best option. Here's the third best option. So how exactly does Google find this information? What exactly is Google looking for? Well, there are a number of different things that you could do to help Google kind of categorize your online content. The first is of course the content itself, but it has to be quality content that is made for your audience. The content should also be conversational. So you want to use language similar to how you would engage in a face-to-face conversation with a customer. You're writing your content for your users, not for Google, not for the algorithm. The algorithm is actually programmed to seek out content that is understandable and relevant to the user. So Google has actually trained its algorithm to seek out content that is seen more in a conversational manner because Google and their algorithm understand that that's how people digest information the easiest. We're not, maybe in the business industry, maybe within your industry, you use a lot of business jargon, but the reality is your customers are probably not using that business jargon. They are just, they're just speaking conversationally. And most of us speak at a 5th to 6th grade reading level. So how I'm talking to you now, this is extremely casual, very conversational. And this is at a 5th to 6th grade reading level. So when you're writing your content, you want to think about writing it in that very conversational tone. Now, it is important to keep in mind that even if you're writing in a conversational way, you want to make sure that you're using proper grammar, that you're using proper spelling. because although the algorithm is looking for that conversational relevant content, it is still a computer program. So you have to be able to, separate sentences and paragraphs and have things spelled properly. Otherwise, it is difficult for, that computer program to kind of figure out what you're saying. If you write a paragraph that is 300 words long, but it's run-on sentences and there's misspellings, the Google algorithm is going to have a really hard time digesting what that says. And if the algorithm says, I don't know what this means, then they're going to assume the user is not going to know what it means. So it's good to have that proper grammar, spelling, punctuation, but also make sure you're writing in a very conversational manner. It's not on here. I didn't put it on the slide, but there are two websites. There's one website and one app that you want to maybe consider. So the first is a Google Chrome extension called Grammarly. And I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with that, but it's something that, I have a degree in PR. So I've done a lot of writing. I've taken a lot of copy editing classes in college, but I still make mistakes when I'm writing emails, when I'm, writing content for social media or for our website. People still make mistakes. And so I installed Grammarly to help me catch those misspellings, to help me catch some of those things that maybe I otherwise wouldn't see with the naked eye that are easy to miss. So it's a free extension. It's really, really handy to use. I highly recommend it. The other thing is a website that is called Hemingway App. So like Ernest Hemingway, Hemingway App, app.com. And this website actually allows you to type your content into the web page, and it will have a thing on the right-hand side that tells you, this is at a 9th grade reading level. This is at a 6th grade reading level. And it will give you suggestions for how you can simplify sentences, or maybe if there's like 3 or 4 sentences that are really, convoluted, really complex, and they're just like way too high up on the reading level, then it might highlight it and tell you, hey, you really need to simplify this because it's a little too high up on the reading level. So it gives you a really good idea of how to write in that 5th to 6th grade conversational reading level. But I highly recommend you check those out because they're very, very handy. Next is context. So what is the web page, article, or paragraph about? So there's a lot of emphasis in search engine optimization on keywords. Like, make sure you have keywords. And keywords are important, but you don't want to just write a paragraph and sprinkle the keyword in every now and then, because that's not how the algorithm works. That's not what it's looking for. As humans, if we're looking for the answer to our question and we're reading an article, we're not just scanning and zoning in on those keywords. We read the whole article. We read that paragraph to see if it answers our question fully and completely. And that's what the Google algorithm is doing as well. It scans that web page, that paragraph, that article to find out the context. What is this about, and does it answer the question that person is looking for in the Google search engine? They also look for websites being updated frequently with new content. So blog posts and videos can make this a really easy way to keep your website updated. At a minimum, you want to try to update your website once a month. So it doesn't have to be every week or every other day. Just once a month, if you can add in some fresh new content to your website, whether that's a video or a blog post or a new web page, whatever it might be, then Google's algorithm will register that, like, okay, this is an active website. These people are actively updating it. This is relevant. If you create a website and just let it sit stagnant for 6 months to a year and don't do anything with it, then eventually Google's algorithm is going to register that as kind of a dead website. Like, well, they haven't touched it in such a long time. They must not be really using it. And they're not going to have the most relevant information this person's looking for because they haven't been relevant in a year. They haven't done anything with it. So it's really important to make sure that you're updating that website on at least, a monthly basis. Just once a month is all it takes. So search engine optimization has a lot to it. That is like the bare bones overview of it, but does anybody have any questions on that before I move on?
I think you're good to move on. I'm still not seeing any questions.
Okay, so I either explained that really well or everyone's super confused. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the importance of a website. A lot of people I talk to will say, like, I don't really need a website. I have a Facebook page. I have, I have a Google page. Do I really need to have a website? And something to keep in mind, there are a number of reasons why you do need a website. It doesn't have to be a complex, huge, large scale website. Even just a simple one-page website can do wonders for you. But first and foremost, you don't own your Facebook page or any other social media profile. So Mark Zuckerberg could wake up tomorrow and decide he's shutting it all down. And if you have put all your business information on your Facebook page and nowhere else, and that gets deleted or changed, then that's gone for you and you don't have anything now. And that's the thing about social media, Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitter. They have the ability to change up the look of that page. They have the ability to decide what can and cannot be put on there. And anybody who's familiar with Facebook knows that they are changing things all the time. And this is just me kind of personally ranting. I hate the new Facebook layout. It's so ugly, but that's what they're changing to. So, but I don't have any say in that because that's Facebook. But for me personally, I have a website. I draw, I do art on the side. And so I have a website for myself and I can customize that to look however I want. So Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, nobody can tell me how to make my website look because I have the ability to design that to my liking. Having a good website makes you look more credible. And I highlight good because having a bad website can make you look way less credible. It can have a very negative impact on your business. Sometimes, depending on how bad the website is, it's better to have no website than a bad website. So it is important to make sure that your website is a good website. What exactly is a good website? We kind of go into that here in a moment, but it's just important to make sure that if you have a really bad website or a really outdated website, you definitely want to consider getting that updated. Google absolutely loves websites. So this can help increase your SEO. Facebook, social media, Instagram, Twitter, these are good platforms to have. They definitely help in your search engine optimization. They definitely do help in people finding you online. However, having that website in addition to that gives you that extra boost. Google prioritizes websites over anything. But again, they prioritize good websites, and we will be going over kind of what that entails in the next slide. A website can help you answer basic questions quickly. So if you are a business that seems to get the same kind of questions over and over again, adding an FAQ page to your website where you can put down 5 to 10 questions and answers that can be looked at really quickly on there by anybody coming to your website can be super handy. People are inherently lazy on the internet. So if they can find the answer to their question with as little effort as possible, it's ideal for them. So if there is a simple question that you get asked repeatedly, maybe think about putting that on your website and then answering it right there so that when people come to your website, they can see the answer to that question. Then they don't have to take time to write you an email asking the question. You don't have to take time out of your day answering that question that you've answered 1,000 times before. Same thing with them calling you or showing up to your store. So it's just a really great way to kind of, hammer out those small details that you get pretty consistently that people are seeking answers for. First impressions matter. So more than ever, people are actually researching businesses online before they ever step foot inside a store. And with COVID going on right now, most people probably aren't really stepping in stores at all. So, online presence is important more now than ever. But people are researching businesses online before they, engage with the business, buy from them, step foot in their store. Beginning with your website, consumers are passing judgment and making decisions about whether or not they will even visit your store, restaurant, or office. or in the era of COVID, whether they're going to even buy or purchase any products or services from you. So this is, again, reiterating why it is important to have that good website. And this is kind of an example of some tips for your website. What kind of constitutes as a good website? So you want to think about it as a digital brochure for your business. Look at it from the perspective of a first-time visitor. So you know your business inside and out. Maybe your friends and family know your business inside and out. They know it really well. But think about it from the perspective of somebody who has no idea who you are. They don't know who you are. They don't know your business. They don't know what you do. This is the information you absolutely want to make sure that you convey on your website. Who you are, what you do, what you offer, what are some basic, FAQs that you might be able to put out there, and how they can get in contact with you. So those are the bare minimums of a website, but you definitely want to look at it from the perspective of somebody who has no clue what you do and who you are, and fill in the gaps. You want to own your domain name. So you don't actually have to have a website before you get a domain name. You can purchase the domain separately and hold on to it until you have a website that you're ready to connect it to. And I do recommend you buy your domain name as soon as you can, because again, this is kind of a cybersecurity IT thing. I don't know how they do it, but I do know that people do it. They will find domain names or URLs that are, searched pretty often, or that are popular, or that have really good keywords in them. They'll buy them up and they'll sit on them. And then if you come to them wanting to buy that domain name, they'll say, okay, I'll sell it to you, but I want $1,000. I want $2,000. And your domain name is not a $2,000 product. You can buy a domain name from Google for $12 a year. So if people are there are a lot of people out there who try to gouge you for that domain name. And it's also important that if you purchase a domain name, that you have it set up so that it automatically renews every year. So you want that auto renew to be turned on, because sometimes they'll sit and they'll wait for a domain to expire, and then they'll buy it up and hold it hostage because they know that business is going to want that domain back because it leads to their website. So make sure that if you have a domain name that you're thinking about getting, go ahead and purchase it. Google Domain sells them for $12 a year, and it includes the added security and privacy settings with it. So it's really cheap, really affordable. Another thing to keep in mind is to write down your domain name and have it reviewed before you purchase it, because with your social media page, your store sign, your marketing materials, you can capitalize letters, you can add punctuation, commas, apostrophes, whatever it might be. But in a domain name, everything is lowercase, everything is smashed together. So it's not going to look clearly like your business name sometimes. Sometimes people might read it as something different, and it might be something that you don't want them to read it as. A good example of this is there is an IT asset company that, and I'm not sure if they did this on purpose. It kind of sounds like they might, because it just seems so obvious. But the IT company was called IT Scrap, like they're scrapping, trash. So IT Scrap, they buy their domain name, and when you read it, it just reads www.itscrap.com. And the name of the business is IT Scrap, but when it's all lowercase and all smashed together, it looks like it just says It's Crap. So it's really important to make sure that you kind of review your domain name before purchasing it. Just maybe get some outside perspective on, like, hey, when you look at this domain name, what do you read it as? Just make sure it's nothing like It's Crap, because that can, doesn't really have a good interpretation. Next is your page load speed. So this link right here, and you guys will all get a copy of this presentation, so you'll have access to all these live links that I have in here. If you go to this website and you put in your URL, then Google can run a free report for you and email it to you to tell you how fast your web pages are loading And if they're loading too slowly, what are some things that might be slowing it down? So it kind of gives you an idea of maybe some things you need to optimize on your website to maybe speed up that loading speed. Because again, people are very lazy on the internet. They don't like waiting for things. So I believe it's for every second after 5 seconds that somebody has to wait, the chances of them just logging off your website entirely jumps astronomically. So you basically want your web page to load in 5 seconds or less. That's the ideal. Most ideal 3 seconds, but if you can get it in 5 seconds or less, you're pretty good. Anything after that, with each second that goes by, it's just an astronomical jump in how many people are just going to bail on your website because they don't want to wait. Don't use poor quality photos or photos you find on Google Images. Google Images are not public domain. They pull from all over places on the internet. If you need some good quality stock images, Pexels.com and Pixabay.com, these have really great free high quality stock images that you can use. Also, original photos are really great for your business as well. And you can get some pretty good original photos from, a high-end smartphone or a DSLR camera. But if you don't have things like that, you could always hire a photographer, and that's supporting another small business in your area. Make sure your website's mobile friendly. This is extremely important. Over half of users access the internet from their smartphone and tablet. If your website is 10 years old, it's not mobilely optimized. I can just tell you that right now. And you can always easily tell if a website is not optimized for mobile devices. If you go to a website on your phone or your tablet and you have to pinch the screen to zoom in on things just to be able to read them, that website is not optimized, and people will not stay on a website at all if they have to try to zoom in on things just to read them. Most platforms nowadays, like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, they're pretty good about being mobilely optimized from the get-go. So if you create a website on any of those, you're going to have that instant mobile optimization in there. So it's not a whole lot of extra work. But websites that are really old, they're not going to have that built in most likely. So if you do have a website that's 10 years old, you definitely need to consider updating that, because nowadays a website that old is just not going to get a lot of traffic from the mobile side, and most people are accessing the internet from a mobile device nowadays. So are there any questions on websites before I move on?
No, ma'am. It looks like you're explaining everything really, really well.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm just causing a lot of confusion. But if I am causing confusion, again, you can email me and ask me to clarify.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next is Google Business Listings. Google Business Listings, if you don't have a website, the next best thing you absolutely have, and this is one of those things that, you have different options with social media platforms, you have different options with website platforms, what you want to use, but a Google Business Listing is the absolute bare minimum. You have to and should have a Google Business Listing. And I will show you an example of what that looks like. We've all seen them, but some people might not know that that's what it's called. So some benefits of a Google Business Listing. It easily connects with customers across Google Search and Maps. You can post photos and offers to your profile and give your audience updates on your business in an easy and accessible place. You can give your customers a quick and easy way to call you, message you, and leave reviews. And it offers insights so you can see how people are finding you on Google and interacting with your profile. So this is basically a one-stop shop for users to see your business information in Google, including your address, business hours, phone number, services, website links, social media links, reviews. When it comes to the address, I get this question a lot, so I always put it in there to clarify. The address is only visible if you have a brick and mortar location. If you work online or you work from home, you can actually hide your address information so users can't find you. The reason why Google asks for your address regardless is because part of their verification process is that they will send you a postcard with a verification code. So you'll follow this link down here and you'll fill out your business information. And then at the end of that process, Google will mail you a physical postcard to your business address or your home address if you work from home that has a verification code. And then you log back into that Google business account, you enter that code, and then Google says, cool, you're verified. This is a legitimate address, a legitimate business. Now, we can help you through the SBDC. We can actually help you get set up with a Google business listing, and we can verify for you. The only difference is that you can get your business verified, I think it's like 2 days sooner. So with Google business listings, you know, the postcard's got to come through the mail. So it might take 5 to 7 days for them to get there. Whereas if you verify through us, we can usually get it verified within 3 to 5 days. And the only reason that you're able to do that with us is because we partner with Google. So if we personally verify a business for Google, Google knows that that is going to be a legitimate business because we at the SBDC are working with them. So it just kind of speeds up that process just by a couple days. But you can easily do it from home. It's a super easy step-by-step process. And if you need assistance in doing that, you know, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to help you with that. So this here on the right-hand side, this is an example of a Google business listing. This is a little bit outdated. I need to get the new screenshot of our updated version of this, but this is what it looks like. So if you go to Google and you type in the name of a business, then if they have a Google business listing, this will pop up on the right-hand side. And this is where it has, you know, photos you can add in there. You got the street view. You can have links to your website. They can give you directions, which this will take you straight to Google Maps. So if someone's trying to find your business on Google, then they click this and it will automatically open up their Google Maps and show them the directions to your business. You have the address, the hours, phone number, and this cuts off because of the screenshot. But down below here, you can put in kind of the biography or the background of your business. You can also do Google posts within your business profile. So we never did that personally at the Pittsburg State University office. So I work as the state marketing manager for the whole state, but I'm actually housed out of the Pittsburg State University branch. So I managed the state side and the PSU side. And so when COVID hit, you know, I logged into our Google business listing here and I posted an update that said, hey, you know, because of COVID, we're not working in the office, but we are still meeting with clients. We're still helping people. So here's how you can get in contact with us. So then anybody who Googled our business and found our Google business listing could see that update in here. See, and this is an old screenshot, so it's not in there on this page. But if you go to our Google business listing now, you'll see those updates for COVID-19. And so it's a really quick, easy way to convey information to people online. And I highly recommend and strongly encourage every business to at least have that Google business listing because they can help out so much. So any questions on that before I move on?
None so far.
Okay. So this is our last, this is kind of the home stretch, some additional online marketing strategies. So the first would be creating and growing an email subscriber list. This is where you would, you know, collect emails from your customers and you can send out those, you know, monthly or bi-monthly emails to kind of keep customers engaged and up to date on what you're doing in your business, any special deals or events you might have coming up. If you want to do email marketing, choose your email marketing tool. So there are two really big popular ones between, you know, small businesses out there. The number one I always see is MailChimp just because it has a free plan that is pretty robust. So you can send up to 10,000 emails to up to 2,000 contacts a month. Most small businesses don't have 2,000 contacts a month, at least the ones that I've worked with, they don't have a 2,000 contact subscriber list. You know, usually it's between 100 and maybe, you know, 250 or 300 people. But MailChimp offers a pretty robust free plan. Constant Contact, on the other hand, it does not have a free plan. So the plans start at $20 a month. However, it has one of the highest deliverability rates. So you get a higher deliverability rate with Constant Contact than you do with MailChimp, but you're also spending more money with Constant Contact. So it kind of depends on what your needs are as a business. But at the very least, the MailChimp plan, I always recommend businesses start with that, just to kind of see, kind of get the feel for email marketing. And, you want to establish those regular contact points. A good beginning approach is to send emails 2 times a month. And you want to make sure that when you're sending emails, they educate, they help people improve, they promote events and sales. Make sure that when you are sending emails to your customers that they're getting something out of it. You're providing some kind of value. Don't just send them junk emails, because they will unsubscribe so quickly. So it's always important to make sure that you're sending some sort of value to your customers when you do email them. You don't want to email people too much, because that will also cause them to unsubscribe. So a good beginning approach, again, 2 times a month. I have had some businesses do once a week, but they always have, if you're going to do it once a week, you have to make sure you're providing a lot of new, fresh content each week. So don't reiterate the same message each week for 4 weeks, because that will get really old really quick. So 2 times a month or weekly if you have a lot of new information you can put out there. You want to make sure you claim all of your online listings. So you need to make sure that your prospects can find you online and reach you no matter where they are searching from. Simply claiming your business listing on popular search engines and platforms can really dramatically increase your visibility. This link right here is super helpful in doing this, especially if you have purchased a business. If you purchase an existing business, you can use this website here to put in that business information, and it will do a search throughout the internet to see what directories your business is listed on. So maybe you know that your business has a Google business listing, but this search shows you, oh, you also have a Yelp listing, and you also have a listing on City Search and Yellow Pages and all these other ones. So if you find out that your business is listed on these other, directories, you want to make sure that you go in there, you claim it, and make sure that you update it as needed. So any new information you update on your Google business listing, make sure you also update that in your Yelp, your City Search, your Yellow Pages, whatever other online directory that you're listed on. This also can help if you want to expand into other online directories. Let's say you only have a Google business listing, then you can use this to search your business. And if it says, hey, you're on Google Business, but you're not on these, then it gives you the chance to go in and say, okay, well, I want to create a business listing on these directories. So this is an extremely handy link, and I definitely recommend that you check this out. Lastly, you want to use social proof. So what is social proof? It's the idea that consumers will adapt their behavior according to what other people are doing. There are several different types of social proof. There's wisdom of the crowds. This is highlighting how many customers you serve or positive online reviews that you have. This implies that many people are satisfied with your business, which can in turn pull more people into your business. There's also customer testimonials. There's expert social proof, which is just approval from credible experts. So let's say that there is a really popular blogger that covers, products for babies, and that person ends up doing a blog post or a review of your product for children, and they give a really good review. That's an example of an expert social proof example. There's also wisdom of friends. So learning about a product or service directly from a friend. This one actually is probably the most influential of any of them. People tend to take the word of their friends and family more than anything else. So if you generate a lot of positive interactions with people, you're more likely to get that good word spread around. Last is celebrity. So it doesn't have to be like an A-list celebrity, although if you happen to have, Robert Downey Jr.'s number, then please let me know. But it can be like a local celebrity too. So if you have, somebody in your county or your district or your city who is a pretty well-known and highly regarded member of the community, and you get them to endorse your business or a service or a product that you offer, you know, that can be considered kind of a celebrity endorsement or a celebrity example of social proof. So continuing on the idea of social proof, you can conduct an audit, which is just collecting and organizing every piece of social proof you can find and use it in your marketing. So go online and search your online reviews, your client testimonials, etc., and use that in your marketing to spread the word about your business. These types of things are really great, non-biased ways to vouch for your business. Everybody always says, my business is the best, my product's number one. And anybody can say that about their own business, their own product. It's much more influential if you can get a different person, someone who's not directly involved in your business, someone who's not a close friend or family member, to say, hey, I actually buy from them and they're really great to work with, or I use their services all the time. They're really reasonably priced and they always provide great customer service. So having these examples of social proof can really help with your business and your marketing.
Mindy, I have 2 questions for you.
Yes.
So is there a fee for using Google Business Listings?
Nope, it's free.
Okay. And then what is a deliverability rate?
So a deliverability rate is just, so you know sometimes when you get emails that come through and they go straight to your spam or your junk folder, Constant Contact has a lower rate of that happening. So it has a higher deliverability rate because more emails from Constant Contact make it straight into the inbox than they go into spam and junk folders. So that's just, in a nutshell, that's what that means.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No problem. So you can also get more social proof. So you can create video testimonials. You can reach out to your past and current customers and ask them to post an online review. So a lot of businesses, you might have those, you know, like highly rated customers that you interact with on a regular basis. They're always coming in, they're always saying good things about you. You know, reach out to those people and say, hey, can you go on my Google business listing? Can you write a review? Can you give me a testimonial that I can put in my marketing? And people who have good relationships with your business are more than likely very happy to do so because they enjoy your business, they enjoy working with you, and they want to see you thrive. So a lot of people are pretty open to providing that for you. You also want to give your social proof visibility. So once you collect those reviews, those testimonials, you want to post them on your website, your social media, your marketing materials. Having those, you know, objective third parties say good things about your business can really provide a good view of your business for other people. So again, it's so easy to say my product's the best, my business is the best, but if you can get that objective third party to say, no, I can actually vouch for them, they are actually really good at what they do, then that can create an amazing feedback for your business. So that is the end of my presentation. So does anybody have any questions?
I'm not seeing any more pop up quite yet.
Okay, that's totally fine. What to expect after today? You will be receiving a post-event survey just to kind of an assessment of my presentation, just to kind of let me know how I did. It's totally anonymous, so you can be really brutal if you want to. You'll also receive a copy of the presentation, so you'll get the physical slides from my slideshow, and you'll also get a recorded copy of this webinar presentation as well. Again, here's my contact information. So if you don't think of any questions today, you're more than welcome to reach out to me at any point, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Okay, well, if we don't have any more questions, that's all I've got for you today. So thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming out, Mindy. It really means a lot to us.
No problem.